Separating sports by sex doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Because again, we haven't reinvented Homo sapiens since Crystal Pepsi came out. I've spent 3 decades on TV mocking Republicans who said climate change was just a theory. And now I got to deal with people who say, you know what else is just a theory? But that can't happen overnight, because the people who aren't getting the food or the medicine, they're the ones who are going to suffer. You don't see why people find this incredibly cruel?
You said earlier that we're treating it as if it's an overweight person, putting them on a crash diet. Oh no. The federal government is essentially somebody who's 800 pounds, and you cannot survive like this. So yes, there are some drastic measures that have to be taken, and I will add this to you. If you think it's bad now, if we get into a real debt crisis, it will be significantly worse for the American people and other people that we might help around the globe. The best thing to do right now, get in quick. You're gonna have to shut some things down, triage the area, rebuild the stuff that is good, that we all can agree with. The other stuff that's hyper-political or makes no sense or fraudulent.
What about the Department of Education? Now, I don't know that much about it, but I've never read good things. Rahm Emanuel, who I agree with almost everything, there was a quote, he said, 1/3 of 8th graders can't read, and now he wants to close the department? And I thought,
I requested you all to comment on Bill Maher in a recent video, but if you want to be even more perplexed by his most recent episode, you must watch this one. You can see exactly where he is going. Don't forget to like it. And watch this video, but before I show you how Bill Maher ruined himself and the woke watch his friend back when he attempted to make fun of Democrats.
I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it? That to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? An $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. But I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's fucking corruption.
And others claim that she has not spoken since. I find it incomprehensible that someone like him can still be perplexed while disparaging both media outlets under several administrations. The same is true with Bill Maher.
with communists, that human was no longer selfish. In America today, that human is no longer born male or female. And obesity is not something that affects health. You can be healthy at any size. Really, we voted on it. A formerly serious magazine last year published with a straight face an article called Separating Sports by Sex Doesn't Make Sense. Yes, it does. Because again, we haven't reinvented Homo sapiens since Crystal Pepsi came out. I've spent 3 decades on TV mocking Republicans who said climate change was just a theory. And now I got to deal with people who say, you know what else is just a theory?
The fact that woke liberals argue about something that has been discussed in 25,000 years astounds me. And if you're paying attention, common sense is finally returning among Bill Maher's audience.
The Department of Education. Now, I don't know that much about it, but I've never read good things. Rahm Emanuel, who I agree with almost everything, here was a quote, he said, 1/3 of 8th graders can't read, and now he wants to close the department? And I thought, that's probably why they can't read. Or at least partly. I mean, the numbers keep getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't know if the Department of Education has anything, I mean, it doesn't really, I don't know what it does, except take money. It's sort of a middleman. It doesn't like run classrooms or do stuff like that. I don't think it makes policy.
Yes, precisely. Bill Maher understands how to play the game, but voicing his view on this matter could get him in hot water later.
California lawmakers just passed a law giving government assistance to undocumented immigrants to buy houses. That's kind of a different place than the Democratic Party used to be on immigration, is it not?
Well, let me just say, immigration had always been a bipartisan issue. I refer you to
But not free houses.
Well, that's not free housing. It's the American dream being available to more people. California is always in the lead. Maybe others will follow that lead, but that's up to those states.
So you'd vote for this law?
Well, I'm not familiar with exactly what it is, but making the American dream of home ownership available to all people is something we have to do for people who are here now.
This is for the undocumented.
You see, this is precisely what I'm talking about. Despite knowing she's mistaken, she keeps ignoring the problem to remind herself that the American dream belongs to Americans, not illegal immigrants. On the opposing side is Rob Schneider, a friend of Bill Maher who has an entirely different viewpoint.
President Trump this week just did an executive order saying that boys can no longer play in girls' sports. That's it. That's it. Ladies, isn't it ironic that the biggest protector of women turned out to be the pussy grabber? Huh? Maybe the guy who grabs it knows how to protect it the best. Think about that? Think about that?
Perhaps he is correct, which is why I adore comedians. They are able to make things work, unlike The View.
Under his administration, his next one, schools will teach students to love their country, not to hate their country like they're taught now. I gotta say, this one doesn't bother me so much. Because I think that, this is what I see when I see kids demonstrating, these progressives demonstrating for Hamas, the most illiberal people in the world, that, oh good, we're gonna give America its comeuppance, asshole America. They kind of have been indoctrinated this way. And Chuck Schumer made a speech this week. He said anti-Semitism is a 5-alarm fire that must be extinguished. This is the highest ranking Jewish politician we've ever had in this country. He talked about when Jewish people hear chants like from the river to the sea, you understand that means wipe us out by any means necessary. Vulnerabilities in the party, James. The Democrats have...
You can sense the Democrats' annoyance on their faces. They know he's stating the truth, and since they are unable to change it, they are always caught in the middle, even after making an effort to improve their reputation.
And they asked them a question today, and I'm sure if you're of the type of person who just always hates the one team and loves what the other one does, they asked them a question about the crash. And they said, will you visit the crash site? Now, every other politician would go, of course, it was a tragedy. And he went, it's the water.
Bill Maher is attempting to show them where they should find balance, but they chose to focus on meaningless concepts that no one cares about instead of seeing the things that really important.